auditioning can be like a mental hurricane. There's so much going on around you and through you that a lot of times it can be kind of overwhelming. One, when I'm sitting outside the room, I make sure that I just simply focus on taking super long, deep, calm breaths. Because when you take breaths really rapidly, that tells your brain that there's a reason to get nervous. But if you take long, calm breaths when you're outside the room and when you're walking in the room, your brain tends to act accordingly because your brain and your body will always mirror your breath patterns. Two, when I'm practicing my scene, I always make sure that I practice it a couple times with my reader, doing it really flat and really rapidly. Because when you go into audition, especially for TV auditions, they're going through so many actors and they want to get through the scene, so they want to get through the audition, through the session, that a lot of times what happens is that they just give you really flat and quick reads, and that can throw you off if you're not prepared for it. And they're not trying to throw you off, they're just trying to get through the session, which is completely understandable. So what you want to do is just prepare yourself for it. Go through it with your coach or your friend, but just have them give you a really quicker than normal and really flat read. This way when it happens, you're prepared for it. 3, the moment you walk in the room, try to catch the reader's eyes. Try to say hi to them. Because what happens is in the audition is the moment the scene starts and they're behind the camera and you catch their eyes, it can kind of throw you for a bit because you're not prepared for it. You kind of get this deer in the headlight moment where like, oh crap, I'm looking at this is the casting director. So just by when you walk in and saying, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? You kind of create an emotional mental preparation and a rapport with them. So when they're looking back at you, it's not for the first time and it doesn't throw you off and it doesn't freak you out. And it's just something that I found that always helps ground me. So when I'm looking into the casting director's eyes, I'm ready for it and I'm not thrown off. You always have to remember that auditioning with the camera is a very visual medium. So you have to be able to make your audition work technically so you tell your story accurately. So when you walk in the room after you introduce yourself to the casting director, one of the other things you want to do really quickly is find the mark on the wall where you're going to create that other relationship. So you have to think of the camera as like Mickey Mouse. On this side you have the casting director who you're going to be looking at, and on the other side is your mark on the wall or near the camera where you're going to create the other relationship. So the moment you walk in, you say hi to the casting director, and then you're looking for your marks. You're looking for that little dot on the wall, or you're looking for that little piece of the camera that you're going to look at. Because if you don't prepare yourself, and then the scene starts, and then you go into create that other relationship by looking off camera, if you haven't found that mark, all you're doing is when you're looking away is thinking, crap, what do I want to look at? You're not with the scene, your third eye has come out and you're trying to basically find this mark on the wall. So just by immediately planning it, so you know if it's the little scratch in the wall or if it's a picture frame, the moment you walk in and you see that mark, then you're ready to go when the scene starts. Something that I learned from Tim Phillips, one of my mentors and a dear friend and director coach of mine, is that he used to always preach to me that when you audition, you don't audition for the job, you audition for your career. And as I've gotten older, I started to understand that. Because what he's trying to say is that most likely you're not going to get that job you go in for. But what you want to do is create really strong, compelling work so that casting director puts you on a list of actors they always want to call in. And your goal as an actor is to get on as many lists and in as many offices as you can.